Hey everybody, Aaron Cowan, Sage Dynamics. This week's questions answered video, choices for home defense optics, red dot versus LPVOs. This is actually a question that comes up a lot during rifle classes. Guys want to know, especially those people who their rifle's main purpose is for home defense, what's the best optic to use for home defense? We've gotten away from the idea of iron sights as our primary sighting system on the rifle, for good reason. Your red dot and your magnified optics are going to allow you to acquire targets faster, and they don't require your eyes to have to reaccommodate like they do with iron sights. So it's a good idea to use either an LPVO or a red dot, but the question always comes down to which one should I use for home defense if that's my rifle's primary purpose. For those of you who may be scratching your head because I did use an acronym, and I apologize for that, just in case you're not familiar with the term LPVO, low power variable magnification optic. So we're talking about a low power variable magnification optic, such as a 1:4 or a 1:6 or a 1:8 or a 1:10. I am a fan of LPVOs. I'm a fan of intermediate and longer range too. They just don't serve the same purpose as they would on, say, a home defense rifle, like what we're talking about. So the question is, which one's better? And the answer is it really does depend. Your home size is going to somewhat dictate, but also how much practice and how much proficiency you're able to get in on your red dot versus your magnified optic. As a default, I'm going to recommend the red dot because the learning curve is shorter and it is more forgiving with slight mistakes. Variable magnification optics are great. They've come a long way. In fact, some believe we have entered the era of the LPVO and we're getting away from the reliance on the red dot as the venerable, reliable system we know it to be. Red dots can continue to be awesome, but really the technology increases in a red dot are pretty much relegated to battery life. As far as dot size goes, we started out in 8, 6, 4, and now we have 2. Some people have experimented with 1 MOA and then gone back to 2 MOA because they find that 2 MOA is a better dot size for varied ranges and conditions that you're going to use a red dot in. But a red dot doesn't give us the ability to reach out and identify and touch something like an LPVO does. So if I have a variable magnification optic and it can function as a red dot on the 1 power setting, and then I can dial out and reach out and identify and hit targets, threats further away, then that's super advantageous. The drawbacks that we used to have with magnified optics are kind of being solved through technology, better glass, better systems, better electronics, better circuitry, better reticles, so on and so forth. So it's not quite there yet for the most part, but it's getting to the point where you can get a variable magnification optic for the same price that you'd spend on a really high quality red dot, and it's going to give you the same abilities, whereas the red dot cannot increase the performance as far as magnification goes that you're going to get from a variable magnification optic. Another option you have, of course, is a magnifier for your red dot, and that's definitely an option. I don't particularly care for them because when they're not being used, they tend to make the rifle a little bit more cumbersome, and I'm still not getting definitively the same gains that I get from a variable magnification scope, because all the magnifier does is magnify the distance in which I'm able to see, whereas a magnified optic, such as an AccuPower, an AccuPoint, a Steiner, a Vortex, they actually have a graduated reticle of my choice, so I can use that for ranging, I can use it for holding over, other purposes, so on and so forth. So while the flip side magnifiers do give you the ability to see out further, they're not going to give me the same advantages that I'm going to get from a low power variable magnification optic. What it really comes down to is context of choice. If I live in an enclosed space, an apartment building or something like that, I'm more likely to go the red dot. If I live in a larger home, or if I live in a semi-rural to very rural area, I'm more likely to choose that variable magnification optic just because I don't know the situation that I may find myself in, but I want to be able to see and positively identify out to the edge of my own property. So the magnified optic is going to give me that advantage, and it's going to give me the reticle that I want for those purposes. Now, of course, I still have to choose a high quality optic. I don't want to choose a magnified optic that just doesn't have the advantages that the newer optics have. So if I'm choosing an optic that only costs $100 or $200, I might not be getting, one, the durability, the ability to maintain zero, and really high quality glass. What we've seen definitively with these newer generation of magnified optics is not only is the glass clearer, but the magnification is, you can get true 1x really, really easily, and your field of view is much wider, and they have taken into account to a certain degree. The fact that the optic is going to also be used for close range engagements, so scope shadow isn't as big of a problem today as it used to be. And that comes back to eye relief and exit pupil distance and things of that nature, which is where the technology is going to. We're getting better at these variable magnification optics, identifying the distance at which people are likely to use them at. Obviously, getting all that out of the way, my opinion is going to remain it depends. I do like red dots, but red dots can't do what a variable magnification optic can do, whereas variable magnification optics now can do what red dots do. So if it's only in the budget to choose one optic, my suggestion is going to be choose a high quality variable magnification optic to fit that role. Red dots are great. I still use red dots, dedicated red dots on my night vision guns that I use primarily for night vision instruction and things like that. But like my personal patrol rifle for my law enforcement duty has a variable magnification optic on it because not only do I need to be able to shoot out to 200 meters, but I also need to be able to identify what I'm shooting at 200 meters. So that magnification has got to be there. For a home defense gun, you might not need a 1:8. Depending on size of your home, size of your property, realistic conditions, you're most likely to use the weapon in. But you can still choose that 1:8 because it gives you the option if you need it. But for most people, a 1:4 is probably going to be fine. My suggestion is instead of buying your way through a bunch of different scopes to find what works for you, get together with some people, or when you go to a class, check out other people's optics to see which one is going to, one, provide you the quality that you want at the price you can afford, and it's going to give you the options that you want in that optic in that category. I'm Aaron Cowan with Sage Dynamics. Train accordingly.